I did what most Germans won't do. Let's take a look. Willkommen. My name is Sean Huggins, and this is React with Hugs.
I want to see how he reacts when he thinks no one's watching.
I can't help it if he's weird.
He's American.
He's going crazy with that work.
Everybody reacts differently.
I think he's weird, but that's me.
He's American, you know.
Welcome to React with Hugs. Let's take a look at today's comment of the day. So today's comment of the day comes from Just Schweider, and they say, already 1 year, congrats. Jost. I'm not sure how to say your name, and I apologize in advance, but thank you for the nice comment. For those of you that are new to the channel or returning, I just hit my 1 year mark on this channel of uploading a new reaction video every single day. Woohoo! So today is 1 year and 1 day, actually. If you missed the 1 year anniversary video, then you would have missed the fact that I added all these links down in the description of the videos. From here on out, there's a lot more stuff going on, so definitely check out the links in the description, follow all the different socials, get connected. Definitely join the Discord, because the Discord right now is just me and these two knuckleheads that joined yesterday, and we're pretty lonely. So, join the Discord. Anyways, thank you again for the nice comment, but let's hop into today's reaction. Zodle. Today we are back with my friend, Nauf. He's not actually my friend. I don't know him, but I feel like I know him, and I feel like he's a friend of mine. Anyways, he uploaded a video saying, I did what most Germans won't do. Not sure what to expect here, but I have a feeling I know what it is. An inkling, just a small feeling. I think I know what it is, probably, but I don't know for sure. We're going to find out together right now, though. So, without further ado, los geht's.
Think about where you live right now, and think about where you were born.
Okay.
If you want, you can even comment it below. Remember this. We'll come back to it later.
Oh, I hope I don't forget where I was
born.
born.
There are 6 kids in my family, and we essentially live all around the world. I live here in Germany. My brother Mikey lives in Italy. Brother Joey lives in Chicago. Brother Anthony, Los Angeles. Brother Andy in Oakland. And our sister Jamie in Oregon. We are spread out all throughout the world, basically. And we're actually a super close family. It's not like we're estranged and can't stand to be around each other. We all love each other. We really look forward to the times of the year where we're all home together in Oregon.
All the Alfieri boys and Matt Fay. We are going bouldering.
We're very, very close, yet we're still spread out. And I actually don't think that our family story is that unique for American families.
Okay.
Then when I contrast this with the families that I know in Germany, this is kind of shocking.
I think this is going exactly in the direction that I thought it would, but to be sure, let's continue, but I think I know where this is going.
Uncommon for 3 generations of families here in Germany to live under one roof.
I wasn't comfortable at the beginning. Once you see that this is more.
What's this? Cody, an American, lived with his German in-laws under one roof for a few years. This is quite uncommon in the USA. This is definitely very uncommon in the USA, and I don't actually know how common it is in Germany. Probably semi-common, if I had to guess. I'm doing it right now, though, so it's at least a little bit common because I'm doing it. Me and Issa lived with her parents when we first arrived here in Germany over 2 years ago until we could find our own place for ourselves. Then we had our own place for however long. And then before we moved to Thailand, we had to give up that place because we didn't want to be paying rent for a place we're not living in. And then when we came back from Thailand after 2 months of living there, we are now back living with her parents. So I'm in the same situation as this guy. I'm living with my in-laws, but it's kind of lit. Not gonna lie, it's not bad.
More normal. I know in the first maybe a year or two before when that topic first came up, it was like, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? We're gonna live with your parents? No, I mean, there's a lot of perks to it.
I don't want to pause it too much, but yeah, there's a ton of perks, obviously, to living as a family together, obviously. I think everyone watching can agree on that. My hesitation was when I first came to Germany, I didn't know any German. Like, I tried to learn. I was taking an online class, and I learned some. I learned basic vocabulary, but that is very far from being able to actually have conversational German or language skills. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to move in with my in-laws, who at this time I never had met in person, first of all. Second of all, Issa had the great idea to semi-surprise her family with her return to Germany. And third of all, we would be moving in with her parents. So essentially, the first time I ever met her parents, we basically were like, hey! And they were very excited to see Issa, and they're like, oh, that's Sean. Oh, hey. And I'm like, yeah, nice to meet you guys. Not in so many words because I was speaking very crappy German. And then followed very quickly by, I'm your new roommate. Surprise. So my reservations to live with my in-laws came more from that whole situation as opposed to the actual situation itself. Like, you know, I don't mind living with them. It was just that getting over that first initial like anxiety of doing it in the first place. But yeah, it's been great. There's obviously countless benefits to it and I love it. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue.
And it's kind of unheard of for German families to spread out in the way that mine has. Where are you from?
I'm actually
I
from
have definitely
Schwäbisch Hall.
noticed that.
Where do you live now?
Now I live in Sulzdorf, which is also part of Schwäbisch Hall, so not
Schwäbisch Hall.
gone any
That's a fun
farther
name.
than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever lived somewhere else other than Schwäbisch?
No,
Yeah.
and I don't plan to move far.
Yeah, this is basically all of my friends in Germany. They were born in this town and they all live still in this town and they never left. Unless it's like, you know, one village over, two villages over, something like that. But I still consider that like the same. If you can take a quick car ride of like 10 minutes to your hometown, I mean, it's close enough. It's the same thing in my book.
Far away from here.
Looks like a pretty nice little village here, though. Wonder how far away that is from me.
So this intrigued me to look at some actual data and statistics.
Oh, I
and
love
what
data
I
and
found
statistics.
was absolutely fascinating. First, let's talk about my people, the Americans.
I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America?
This really surprised me. 41% of Americans live in a different state
Oh, wow.
than the state they were born in.
That's a huge percentage of Americans. That's crazy when you think about it. That's actually pretty surprising too, to be honest. Let's hear more.
41%. I mean, that's nearing half of Americans.
In 2022,
crazy.
over 800,000 Americans left California for other states.
This indicates that Americans are very mobile. Now, I checked out some recent statistics on how many people moved each year, and in 2019, 2020, and 2021, about 8 million Americans moved to different states each one of those years.
8 million Americans changed their state in 1 year. That is... That's crazy.
10% of Germany's whole population each year moving to a different
Wow.
state.
10% of Germany's
now
population
let's look
each
at
year.
Germans moving between different German states. And for my American viewers, yes, Germany has states. There are 16
17.
of them. They are called Bundesland.
17! Mallorca! Everyone always forgets about Mallorca.
Equivalent of our American state. I live in the third largest state in the south of Germany, Baden-Württemberg. Many Americans probably...
Not here, bitch! I also live in Baden-Württemberg.
Probably know about the
Let's
largest
continue.
and most famous German state, Bavaria. This guy, yeah, you can go. He's totally a cool guy. He stopped, the van stopped while I was shooting my video.
Wow.
Good vibes in
Cool.
Shaw today. Now, Germany, of course, is much smaller geographically than the United States, and its states are smaller, and the distance between states are smaller. Overall, it's about 28 times smaller than the United States.
Yeah, Germany is essentially the size of a U.S. state, basically.
Germany is approximately half the size of Texas, our second biggest state. So you might think that, okay, because it's a smaller geographical area, moving between one German state and another is not so big a deal. Probably tons of Germans do it, more than Americans at least.
But.
Right?
But.
Wrong.
Wrong. Whoa. What in the goddamn Three Musketeers is going on here? Who are these people? I want a fancy feather hat like this. How do I get a fancy feather hat like this? Dude. That looks fun. I want to do that.
10%. Only 10% of
Wow,
Germans
only
live in a
10%.
different German state than the one they were born in.
So just to recap, 41% of Americans versus just 10% of Germans. Pretty big difference.
Do you ever consider living in a different German state, a different Bundesland?
Never say no, but probably not.
Now, side note, I don't know if this is entirely relevant, but there's always those people who like to compare American states and EU countries. They make this comparison.
Okay,
oh,
let's
a different
compare.
EU country is like a different American state. And I understand it's kind of similar geographically.
Damn, what is this? I don't know what I'm looking at. Are these the European countries compared to the American states? Oh yeah, it looks like it is. Okay, cool. Good to
know. There's free travel and open borders between the two, but it's a lot different. But just for fun, let's look at the amount of Germans who live in a different European country than Germany. Only 4%.
Okay.
All right. So
oh wow, I don't want to glance over this so quickly. Only 4% of Germans live essentially outside of Germany. Interesting. Very interesting.
Established that Americans are much more likely than Germans to move further away, to move to a different state and live farther away from their families.
I believe that.
But why?
I don't know exactly why Americans move around so much. I have an idea, a theory, but I want to see what he says first and then see if my theory is the same as his or if it's different. And if they're the same, then I don't know, maybe they're slightly different, or I don't know, we'll see. Let's just continue.
So it's abundantly clear.
Whoa.
Americans are more likely to move and live further away from where they were born than Germans. But what is the reason for this?
I swallowed my spoon!
Let's see what my really smart friends think about this subject.
I feel like it's more common in the US to like change jobs more often and also like move for work.
Okay, this was definitely one of my theories. The culture of work and employment and careers is a lot different in the two countries. Even the mentality that people seem to have in general in each country. America, it's a lot more common to move far away for a better opportunity in your career. In fact, that's probably why most people leave the state that they were born in or the town or city that they were born in America. The second one being that America has such a crazy vast landscape, like natural landscape. You can move to essentially any climate and biome that you want. So I would say the second biggest reason is that some people are just born up north where it's cold in America and they're like, I would rather move to a warm place. And they move south where it's a lot warmer, a lot nicer weather, maybe some beaches, or vice versa. Some people are born down south where it's really hot and they're like, I kind of like snowboarding and the mountains and stuff like that. So I want to move up north. So that's probably the second reason, because there's just so many vastly different climates and biomes and natural features in America that some people just like to move to be near the place that they like. Anyways, I don't want to ramble too much. Let's continue and then I'll chime back in.
Like
later.
Somewhere else. At least that's what my experience from working with a lot of American people is.
Adrian is correct here.
Germany has an extensive social welfare program that provides benefits and support for things like healthcare and unemployment benefits, which makes moving less necessary. Whereas in the United States, a lot of times these benefits like healthcare are tied to employment. It's tied to your job, which can drive Americans to move for better employment opportunities.
Yeah, not only that, but also vastly different pay scales and sheer number of jobs and opportunities depending on where you live in the country. Obviously, if you live in a very rural area in America, which is most of America, there's going to be far fewer jobs within a close proximity to where you live. Obviously, that's what rural means. Whereas if you live near a major city, metropolitan area, there's just more people, more businesses, more jobs in theory. So a lot of people are born very far away from cities, major cities, or even small or medium-sized cities, and they choose to move closer or into cities in order to find higher paying jobs, better jobs to advance their careers or whatever. Okay, anyways, let's continue.
In Germany, I feel like it's more common to do like Ausbildung or study somewhere close to home. and stay there. Like find a job in the area where you grow up. Like stay a lot more with your parents.
So historically in the United States, people have been encouraged and incentivized to move to some of these major hubs, whether it be New York City or Los Angeles or San Francisco. I know this is changing a little.
Well, not just those, but any real city, even small ones, even ones that probably most of the viewers here would have never even heard of. There's a ton of small and medium-sized cities in America, and even those places have a lot more jobs than the really rural areas. So yeah, people tend to sort of gravitate towards the nearest city in the hopes of better jobs, more opportunities, and stuff like that.
A little bit now in sort of the work from home era, but historically Americans have been very driven to move to some of these areas to advance in their career. Whereas in Germany, the economy is actually a little bit more evenly distributed throughout different regions of the country. And strong worker and labor protections are more common, and this decreases the need for geographic mobility for your job.
And here are two other possible explanations that I think are pretty valid.
In Germany, it's not so easy to get new friends, so you try to stay in your...
Hey, bro, don't I know it? But I'm going to be honest with you, it's not easy to find friends in America either. It's everywhere in the world. Like, at least for me, as an introvert, super introverted person, it's just hard to make friends anywhere for me. I don't like introducing myself to new people and all that stuff. So it's difficult. It's difficult to make friends anywhere in the world, for me at least. Which is why I'm happy to introduce the sponsor of today's video, Made with Hugs, and madewithhugs.com, your one-stop shop for all of your friendship needs. Check out the links in the description, join the community on all the different socials and all that stuff, and make some friends. My first sponsored video. Nice. Anyways.
In your bubble.
One of the bigger things is it's more normal for Europeans to like live at home. You're 27 living at home because you're just saving money. And especially when it comes to like all the school stuff, after 1 year, if you could pay back half of your debt, the other half is gone. Oh, yeah. So then people come back and they just live at home, so they're not paying for housing and stuff. Save money, pay off, and then half your debt's gone. So
that's nice. That's what I did in America. I graduated from university, worked for a company, living by myself actually. I was like 22, 23, I guess. Worked there for a few years. And then I decided to move back home with my parents. And then I was saving so much money from having to not pay my own rent that I was able to save up enough money to buy my own house after like 3 months or something. But also most of that time was spent actually trying to find a house to buy, not really just saving the money for it, you know? So dude, I get it. Living at home with your parents, it's a freaking cheat code. It's the craziest life hack. Anyways.
Oh, I think that's why it's just more normal that you see that there's 2-3 generations in a house. Whereas, in the US, it's like if you're 23 living at home, you're a failure. And like, oh my God, how could you be living?
Just so you guys know, I know this isn't so obvious all the time for everyone that watches these videos. He's being sarcastic or ironic, as some of you guys say. He is exaggerating for comedic purposes. This is a type of American humor. Anyways, let's continue.
Living at home.
What a nice day this was.
I love this part of Schwäbisch Hall. This is kind of on the other side of the river. It's a little bit quieter. There's not really cafes or shops or anything. It's mostly residential. But a nice little chill.
I like this little town here.
And finally, an explanation that I really like and I think really holds true.
So we all know that Americans are the descendants of people who at one time or another left their home country in search of a better life in the United States, whether that was 6 generations ago or 1 generation ago.
Yes.
So we know that
this kind of goes with my other theory that I have, but I want to have him finish and then I'll see if it's the same.
The United States is full of people who come from people who are willing to move for a better life, to pick up everything in their life in their old country in search of a life in the United States that they hoped would be better. Many of you guys know that I have my Italian citizenship and did a lot of research on my family ancestry and learned about, my great-grandparents, people who came over from Italy and Germany to the United States. It makes me think a lot about that. Whereas Germans, especially in the 20th century after the World War, sort of fostered this culture of rebuilding and collective coming together and sort of starting a new life with where you are and what you have. I know of many German families whose great-grandparents settled in an area after the war, and they built their entire family and entire life there, and all the generations of the family since then live in that area. And like we touched on, some even in the same houses. So
yeah,
I think
same with my friends that I have here in Germany.
Here, that plays a role in why Americans are much more willing to move far away.
Now, after watching this video, what do you think about where you live now?
I still have my
versus where
theory,
you
which
were
is
born?
slightly different than his.
And what are your thoughts on why there's such a big difference between Germans and Americans on this subject? Let me know in the comments.
All right. Wow. Yeah, I have one more little theory here that he kind of started to touch on. He was talking about how America's mostly made up of people that moved from other countries to try to find a better life in America compared to where they came from and all that stuff. And while that's true, I think that that lends itself to Americans being in general very risky and being a lot more okay with taking big risks and being more likely to take big risks if it means the potential for advancing their careers or having a better life or whatever, dating all the way back to when immigrants first started coming to America. You know, they were looking for the potential to get rich and start a new, better life in America. And to a certain degree, that American dream of like going to America and starting from nothing and becoming rich, that's still very much in the back of a lot of people's minds in America. So I think that taking risks is something that he didn't talk about, but I think that Americans are more likely to take risks trying to better their lives, whereas Germans are, in general, seemingly a lot more content with how things are and sort of make the best of their situation and try to, instead of changing the situation that they're in, they try to make the best of the situation that they're in. Maybe. Does that make any sense? Maybe that doesn't make any sense. Maybe that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I feel like I was rambling a lot this episode. Hopefully not too much. I don't even know if I made any sense, to be honest. What do you guys think? I'll ask you guys, the experts. Let me know what you think. Why do you think that so many Americans move all over the place and so many Germans stay put where they are born? I'm curious what you guys have to say about it. At any rate, that's all the time that I have for today. Thank you guys so much for being here, and as always, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.